We are live in 3, 2, 1.
Two people are dead after multiple fires broke out in Provo overnight.
People in Ogden are still mourning as they honor fallen soldier Major Brent Taylor last night.
Target has finally opened their doors to the Provo community. Welcome to Newsline. It's Monday, November 12th. I'm Simeon Toronto.
And I'm Cristina Bolaños. 3 brave firefighters from Provo left early Friday morning to help out the wildfires in California.
There are two people dead after a farm fire in Provo. We'll get back to that fire. There are also Utah firefighters from 7 different fire departments on their way to California to assist with ongoing wildfires. Reporter Berto Sanchez has more on this story. How many firefighters are from Provo that are going to go fight those fires in California, Berto?
3 firefighters from Provo volunteered to assist the wildfires in California. Crew boss Spencer Long, firefighter Jason Putman, and firefighter Gage Eccles left Friday morning. Three brave firefighters from Provo left early Friday morning to help put out the wildfires in California.
We're helping a community in California. We've had other fire agencies come here and help us on our fires that we recently had as well. So there's a lot that goes on. Not one agency can really do it on their own, and so we count on mutual aid.
Firefighters who volunteer for deployment have to meet certain qualifications. Training and equipment are very important to get the job done, and it's uncertain what they will be doing once they're out there.
When we get deployed out there like that, we're not sure exactly what we're going to be there for. If we know what apparatus we're on, that kind of gives us an idea. But we're there on the front lines with everybody else.
Although it's a 2-week mission, with the holidays approaching, it's uncertain if these 3 brave firefighters will make it back in time to be reunited with their families for the holidays.
It's a difficult time of year as you head into the holidays. Last year we had crews that were deployed all the way up until they were actually going to spend Christmas down in Southern California.
Being a firefighter may not be the easiest job, but for these brave men, it's rewarding and brings them happiness to know they are serving the community.
It is rewarding. We don't get into this job to be rich. We do this because we love what we do. We do the job. We do the best we possibly can.
Although these Provo firefighters are expected to return to their homes in 2 weeks from now, it is uncertain how long they'll be gone for. Back to you.
Thanks, Berto.
2 people are dead after a farm fire in Provo.
The fire started at 2570 West and 200 South just before 1:30 a.m. Multiple buildings and vehicles were engulfed in the flames. Firefighters have found the remains of both victims and multiple livestock. One firefighter went to the hospital after being hit in the face with a nozzle of a hose. Provo Fire and Rescue warns people that live close by to watch out for loose goats and horses from the scene. Conditions are not expected to improve this morning as crews battle a trio of wildfires ravaging both ends of California. At least 31 people are dead and more than 200 remain unaccounted for. The Camp Fire in Northern California is now the most destructive in state history. Karen Kafa reports.
California Governor Jerry Brown calling the conditions that have fueled these fires the new abnormal, the dry soil, the dry air, the dry vegetation, the strong winds. Here in Southern California, the Woolsey fire, firefighters have made small progress in getting it to about 15% contained. Up in the north, the Camp Fire, well, the death toll there has been climbing. A grim warning from the CAL FIRE unit chief as they enter their 2nd week of fighting.
It's not over yet.
To the north and to the south. 3 fires continue to scorch across the Golden State. Powerful winds on Sunday threatened any progress firefighters made over the weekend. A red flag warning continues into Monday morning.
The red flag warning means that there's critical weather conditions, fire weather conditions that will pose a challenge to firefighters and containment efforts because of the strong gusty winds and very dry conditions.
The governor says climate change is contributing to these extreme conditions.
But managing all the forests in every way we can does not stop climate change. And those who deny that are definitely contributing to the tragedies that we're now witnessing and will continue to witness in the coming years.
While crews comb through ruins searching for the dead,
we're just going door to door, house to house, looking for families, loved ones that are missing.
some families return to sift through the ashes.
Well, I just received my diploma this November 1st, and this is for my ceremony. So I was able to recover this image the day of my graduation.
Typically at this point in the season, firefighters would be able to come down from the northern portion of the state to help their colleagues in the south. Well, that is not the case right now. And so firefighters are coming from other nearby states, Utah and Oregon, to help out the firefighters here. In Malibu, California, I'm Karen Kafa.
2 men are dead and 1 is in critical condition after an industrial accident in the Intrepid potash mine near Moab. The accident occurred around noon on Saturday. The 3 men were electrocuted when their equipment touched a power line. Russell Helquist and Matthew Johnston died at the scene. The third victim, Arthur Seacrest, was found unconscious but breathing. He was flown to a medical facility in Salt Lake. The incident is under investigation.
While the nation celebrated Veterans Day, people in Ogden mourned the loss of their own fallen veteran, Major Brent Taylor. The vigil was held yesterday at the Baker Park Amphitheater in North Ogden. Hundreds came to pay their respects to the former Ogden mayor and Utah National Army Guard major who was killed in Afghanistan. The organization Follow the Flag flew a giant American flag in the Coldwater Canyon in honor of Major Taylor. Yesterday was the 100-year anniversary of the end of World War I.
They held the line and pushed onward to victory.
President Trump spoke for the Armistice Day ceremony in Paris yesterday. World leaders took part in the ceremony commemorating the 100th anniversary of the end of World War I. Presidents Macron, Trump, Putin, and Chancellor Merkel were in attendance at the Arc de Triomphe. Thousands of people lined the streets of Manhattan to honor our veterans yesterday. Here's a look at New York's annual Veterans Day Parade. Crowds and military personnel waved flags to celebrate the men and women who have fought for our country. More than 300 floats and military vehicles took part in the parade, with an estimated 30,000 people there to take it all in. It was specifically timed on the 11th hour of the 11th day of the 11th month in remembrance of Armistice Day, the end of World War I.
The BYU Target hit the bullseye during its grand opening. Newsline reporter Sarah Collins went to the store to see how this Target stands out from others. Sarah.
I'm here in Provo at the new Target, which they call the BYU Target, and this store hits it right on the mark. This Target is a small format store and has many of the familiar Target items found in the regular stores. The aim is to appeal to the local needs of the area, especially students and young families.
I have been so excited about it. Yeah, I drive to Orem pretty regularly to go to Target. Even when I just need, a few basic items, I will make that drive just so I can go to Target.
The grand opening was held on Saturday, and families came to shop their local needs, celebrate with a treat, and check out what the new store is all about. Young children could see the Target mascot, Bullseye, and the first 1,000 visitors received a reusable Target shopping bag. Though this store is small, it has everything from home goods to food and produce to clothing and cosmetics.
It's fun. It doesn't have everything that I'll need, but it's nice to have something that has at least some of the Target items.
This new small format store is the first small format Target store in Utah and will be perfect for the needs of BYU students and locals alike. Back to you.
Thanks, Sarah.
Qualtrics is joining forces with European multinational software corporation SAP. Both board of directors of SAP and Qualtrics, as well as Qualtrics shareholders, have approved this addition. SAP is acquiring Qualtrics for $8 billion. The all-cash deal includes unvested employee incentive compensation and cash on the balance sheet at close. The addition to the company is expected to close in the first half of 2019. Clouds of tension are hanging over the Sunshine State. Coming up, why Florida's recount vote is causing controversy, and if they'll meet the tally deadline.
I would have told you a few. They tell me it's more than 1,000.
We'll tell you why he loves to watercolor.
Snowfall has begun. I'll tell you when and where up next.
See on page 4 that the projections need to be earthquake. Next Thursday?
Seriously? Thursday? Can't do that.
This is really inconvenient.
I have yoga that day. I have no time for this. So,
I can't do Thursday, but I can do Friday.
Disasters don't plan ahead. You can. Talk to your loved ones about how you're going to be ready in an emergency. Don't wait. Communicate.
Planning the right amount of food is hard. The Guestimator makes it easy. Just tell it who's coming and what's for dinner. Then it tells you how much to make. And yes, it even plans for leftovers. Try it at savethefood.com.
United States Vice President Mike Pence and his wife have arrived in Tokyo, Japan. Vice President Pence will be meeting with leaders in Tokyo to discuss relations with North Korea. Japan's Chief Cabinet Secretary Yoshihide Suga says that Japan's alliance with the U.S. is unwavering, regardless of midterm election results. Pence is attending more meetings in Asia on behalf of President Trump.
It's like deja vu all over again. Years after the infamous Bush versus Gore presidential election, another vote recount is brewing in Florida. John Lawrence reports on the story.
The counting is over. Now starts the recounting.
What we are here to do today is to say count every vote.
Florida's Secretary of State announced this weekend a second look is needed for the paper-thin races for governor, senator, and agriculture commissioner. And there are concerns the tallies won't be done by the Thursday afternoon deadline.
Keep in mind that we're doing now what we did for several weeks and through Election Day to count the ballots the first time.
As the recount is underway, the campaign of Governor Rick Scott, who is currently running for Senate, is filing 3 lawsuits. Scott's campaign claims Broward County Supervisor of Elections, Brenda Snipes, counted ballots after Saturday's deadline, which is against Florida law.
We need to make sure that we are protecting the integrity of the electorate in Florida, that every vote is counted, and to make sure that we protect this from fraud.
Snipes' attorney says she is committed to making sure that every legally cast vote will be counted. The Florida Department of State says if recount information isn't turned in on time, the previous results will be accepted.
And in a recount, it's not unusual to see the vote counts change, but in minor ways.
I'm John Lawrence reporting.
Former President George W. Bush and his wife Laura were awarded for their work with veterans with the Liberty Medal. The National Constitution Center gives the Liberty Medal to people who work to bring liberty around the world. Former Vice President Joe Biden presented the award to the Bushes. Although the Bushes were praised inside the event, protesters gathered outside to protest Bush's choice to go into Iraq and Afghanistan. George W. Bush was not the first Bush to get this award. The Liberty Medal was given to his father in 2006.
It's officially the season of giving, and Community Action Services and Food Bank here in Provo is focusing on helping those in need. Newsline reporter Amy Hamilton tells us more.
Community Action Services and Food Bank is not a standard food bank. While they aim to collect canned goods and other products, the food donations only act as a stepping stone. The organization focuses on basic needs first, then helps struggling individuals rebuild their lives.
Really what we hope people understand is that the food is to stabilize people. You can't deal with your challenges in life if you're starving, if you're really hungry.
Once families and individuals are stable, the organization offers several programs like financial counseling, a learning center, housing assistance, and more. People may not know of the poverty right here in Utah County.
In Utah County, there's roughly 78,000 people who are at or below the poverty level. About 1 in 5 children in our area face food insecurity, in that they're not sure where their next meal is coming from.
What can you do to get involved? First, Community Action urges people to be aware. Second, they ask for donations or volunteers. The organization relies heavily on support from the community. It's as easy as donating 1 can or working a 2-hour shift during the week.
I'm here at Community Action Services and Food Bank, where people can donate food items or volunteer their time.
Canned fruit, dinged up cans.
Community Action Services does so much
to help the people in difficult circumstances and kind of bridge from homelessness and difficulty to more stability. So we just felt like it was really important for us to come down and help the people out and do some great service here in this great organization.
In addition, BYU and UVU students have officially kicked off their annual Valley United Food Drive. They compete in gathering donations each year, then give what they've collected to community action services.
Henry B. Eyring is known for his love of learning and business administration, but most people don't know a hidden talent he has. Newsline reporter Matthew Loveland shows us the apostle's art.
Henry B. Eyring is known by members of his faith as the second counselor in the first presidency of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. However, not many know him for his artistic talent. The Church History Museum in Salt Lake City is featuring a new exhibit which hosts more than 100 watercolor paintings, sketches, and journals created by Eyring. The exhibition displays Eyring's artwork and journals stretching back to the 1970s.
I think the fact that you've kept a journal every day since the 1970s is impressive.
Throughout his career, Eyring would take brief amounts of time to work on watercolor paintings between meetings.
The actual painting time, it can be as little as 20 minutes. But you have to then go do something else between the drying, between the washes. So it fits very nicely into your office schedule.
The artwork here is very personal and has left an impact on some of the viewers here today.
You know, I definitely can feel the love of his memories for those in his life that matter, places that he's been, opportunities he's had to serve, and that all comes through to me as a viewer.
He was hoping that when people walk into the exhibit, he hoped that they feel the love of God and his love for them.
After the exhibit ends on January 21st, 2019, the pieces will be returned to Eyring and his family. Reporting for Newsline in Salt Lake City, I'm Matthew Loveland.
The calendar still says it's autumn, but in Erie, Pennsylvania, residents are getting their first taste of winter, and it was a whopper. Take a look at what people woke up to in Erie Saturday morning. The shovels and snowplows were out in force as people worked to clear streets, driveways, and sidewalks. The National Weather Service says by late Saturday afternoon, more than 13 inches of snow fell at Erie International Airport. Lots of exciting things happening in the northeastern part of the United States, as well as in the central United States. We can see some deep purples coming in, more chances of snow. Luckily for Utah, we are avoiding those deep purples and chances of snow for another week or two. But temperatures are cooler, and don't let that sun deceive you. Outside, you can still see your breath. Our current temperature right now is 35 degrees, and it should be climbing up only a few more degrees. You can see the sun has melted the snow, but that sun is only doing just that much. It's still pretty freezing temperatures. We're looking at 41 degrees for our high today, as well as 41 in Salt Lake. Across the board is in the 30s, 40s. Down in St. George is cooling down with 56 degrees. Our lows are dropping by the week. We're even hitting the teens in Vernal, Price, and Richfield, and in Logan. Here in Provo, we're 21, so avoiding the teen temperatures for now. But down in St. George, we're seeing a cold front coming in through Tuesday. You can see cooler temperatures, but then they warm up the rest of the week. But the lows are in the 30s, which things are dropping down, so your getaway to St. George is cooling down. Our northern forecast, we're also seeing the effects of the cold front the first 2 days this week, but then it should steady out to 52 degrees for the rest of the week. And we're looking at the 20s. Tonight and tomorrow night are the coldest, but they should get to the freezing temperature by Friday.
Oh, good. I just hope it's warm enough for my trip to Moab this weekend.
Yes.
It's my first time, so.
Speaking of Moab, did you know that more than 2 million people go to Arches National Park every year? So you're just one of 2 million, Christina.
Wow, cool.
I did not know that, but did you know stunting is the fastest growing female sport in the country? We'll tell you how BYU's stunt team competes coming up. Also, BYU took down UMass this past Saturday. Find out what the Cougars need to do in order to close out the season strong and make a bowl game.
listen, you're my friend.
I noticed you haven't really been yourself recently.
Yeah, I feel like something's up.
How are you?
Are you okay?
Is there anything you want to talk about?
I just want to know how you're feeling.
And listen, even if you don't know what to say, I'm here to talk.
No matter what you're going through,
I just want you to know I'm here.
I've got your back. When you want to talk, I'm here.
BYU walked into Gillette Stadium desperate for a win Saturday to keep their bowl game hopes alive.
Left hip, wides to either side. In fact, two wides to the right. Handoff Squally. No, it's a keeper for Wilson. And Wilson busts it far side. 50, 40, 30-yard line of UMass.
Despite a slow start to the game, BYU scored 35 unanswered to snap their two-game losing streak on the road. BYU's final home game will be Saturday against New Mexico State. If BYU wins, they will be eligible for a bowl game. Following a tough loss against Nevada last Tuesday, BYU basketball returned for their home opener Friday against UVU. The game stayed close with 11 lead changes and 12 ties. TJ Haws exploded for 23 points, Yoli Childs added on 20 points, and crashed the glass with 15 rebounds. After shooting 55% from the field in the second half, BYU was able to pull away. BYU hosts Northwestern State on Tuesday. BYU women's volleyball continued on with their dominant play this past weekend as the Cougars took on San Francisco. BYU cruised past San Francisco, winning in straight sets. With this win, BYU is now 25-0, number 1 in the nation, and BYU will be facing St. Mary's on the road this Thursday. BYU's cheer team is delving into a new competitive sport called Stunt. Sportsline reporter Natasha Ramirez is here to tell us more about the new sport and how BYU is faring. Natasha?
Stunt is the fastest growing female sport in the country. It's derived from traditional cheer, but takes away the crowd-pleasing aspects and focuses only on the technical and athletic parts of cheer.
It basically takes all of the subjectiveness out of cheerleading. It turns cheerleading into a sport.
Stunt is broken into 4 quarters, with each one increasing in difficulty. The first quarter is partner stunts, the second is pyramids and tosses, the third is jumping and tumbling, and the last and most difficult quarter is the team routine.
It's exhausting. They're doing high-level tumbling, high-level stunting all at the same time, and precision matters. Every little step that they take is judged or don't take, and so I think that's going to be the hardest part for us, is just working on the stamina of doing these high-level routines one after another.
Both teams compete at the exact same time doing the same routine. Whoever performs the cleaner routine wins.
So it's really easy to tell back and forth, like they won, they were cleaner, they hit on the right count. So you're out there actually competing with another team at the same time. It makes it really easy to understand, and it just is more like a sport and a little less subjective.
BYU started competing in stunt just last year. The team previously only competed in traditional cheer competitions, but when the coach heard about stunt, they quickly made the switch.
So it's fun to learn these routines and pick up on them kind of quickly, and then look and say, okay, this is possible. And it's really exciting because of how close we got last year to see that we can compete, make it to nationals.
Because of the late start last year, the team only practiced for 5 weeks before competing and taking 5th place. They hope that the extra time this year will bring them closer to competing in the championships and taking the title. For Sportsline, I'm Natasha Ramirez.
Thanks, Natasha. Stunt competitions will begin early next year, and since BYU already started practicing the routines this week, their competition season is going to be one to watch. BYU's men and women's cross-country teams took number 2 and number 3 at Mountain Regional Championships on Friday. Freshman Connor Mance finished 6th overall, along with teammates Rory Linkletter and Connor McMillan coming in 7th and 8th. The women's team also performed with junior Erica Burke-Jarvis finishing 3rd and Courtney Wayment finishing 9th. The cross-country national championship will take place on November 17th. RSL went into the second leg of their series against Sporting Kansas City on Sunday. Despite their late game efforts, RSL was not able to pull out a win Sunday, falling 4-2. This knocked RSL out of the MLS playoffs. Kansas City will play the Portland Timbers Sunday, November 25th for the Western Conference Championship. We'll be right back.
Hey Bobo, do trees tell each other stories?
I'm sorry, I'm afraid I don't know that.
Hey, why don't we go find out? Listen.
Can birds draw pictures?
I don't have an answer for that.
Dad, do stars visit their friends?
Look!
Todd's a great guy. I mean, look at him. What a sweetheart. Attaboy. Wait, Todd, what are you doing? How totally selfish and un-Todd-like of you. Come on, Todd. Come on, man.
The saga of Woody, Buzz, and the gang continues. Released the first trailer to Toy Story 4. The dreamy teaser features everyone's favorite toys floating through the air. The sequence is set to Joni Mitchell's Both Sides now. We see for the first time the newest member of the group, Forky. Toy Story 4 supposedly follows the group as their owners adds Forky to the mix. Toy Story 4 is expected to hit theaters June of next year. If you guys had one favorite Toy Story character, what would it be?
Slinky.
Slinky?
100%.
Woody.
Bo Peep.
Okay, I think that out of everybody, Mr. Potato Head goes down as the MVP for me. Thanks for joining us today. This has been Newsline.
Thanks. Have a great day.
I'm serious.
It's gonna be